Hi Aquarius and Aquarius Rising, here is your horoscope for November 2025. I'm Astrologer Joseph Anthony. All right, we're nearing the end of 2025 and this month of November is going to be a bit of a tricky one. And this is because we have Mercury going retrograde, we have Jupiter going retrograde, and we have your ruler Uranus that's going to backtrack into Taurus in this fourth house. So it's like a doorway to the past is opening up once again. And so we're going to see and revise and revisit things from the past this month. So as much as we want to move forward, it's almost as if we're unable to, or we have to face reality from the past that's coming up again. So that's what it's indicating. So I'm going to explain what that all means. So if you're a rising sign in Aquarius, or if you're a sun sign in Aquarius, this is a very, very general overview using sun sign astrology, using the Western tropical whole house system, where we equal out the houses, but we put that sign on the first house here, whether it's the sun sign or the rising sign, it doesn't really matter because it's very general. And we see where the planets are. And this is how we get to understand the cycles and the patterns through the symbolic messaging of the stars and the planets and so on. So it's very basic. Your own personal birth chart will be a little bit more accurate, but this will still give you an idea, a baseline of what is happening for the month. So take that into consideration. So as we start off this month, we usually focus on where the sun is because the sun is shining a giant light in that area of the sky. And these are basically the constellation. We call them houses, but they're constellations. And so the sun is shining in this 10th house of career along with Mars in Scorpio, and sun is in Scorpio. And so here is the focus of the month in terms of the stature and being in the public and your career and advancement or responsibilities at work. All of this stuff is how you start off the month. But it'll slowly morph into the past and things pertaining to finances as well this month, because Scorpio is one of the signs that represents finances and Taurus is the other one, and your ruler is going to backtrack into Taurus for about 3 or 4 months for the last time in our lifetime, because it won't return back to Taurus and for another 84 years. So, but you also have planets retrograded in the second house of values and income. So there's a lot of focus here for many of you having to do with career matters, finances, and revisiting family dynamics or emotions from the past. And I'll explain all of that in a second. But as we start off the month, we have Mars entering the optimistic sign of Sagittarius. So Mars in Sagittarius is about adventure. It's about philosophy, meaning of life, the bigger picture in life. What is God? What is my connection to God? Who am I really? That kind of stuff. It's in the 11th house. This has to do with socializing, interacting, communities, technology. This has to do with bringing people together. So Mars is going to absolutely amplify all that. But the problem is, and not really a problem, but a situation arises because Mercury is slowing down in the same house to go retrograde. So this means the past, people from the past, situations from the past will resurface as Mars is making its way through this house. And so maybe it's good. Maybe you're celebrating former employees or coworkers, or situations where you go back to some place you've been before and you're having to revise and revisit in some way. So that's going to be a major factor this month. Now, what happens when Mars enters Sagittarius? It quickly and immediately opposes your ruler Uranus right here. So now we're in for some surprises. As you know, your sign is full of surprises, and it represents that. Mars's action, Uranus's surprises, and breaking old patterns. And so here we have, for at least a couple of days, this shock and awe surprises coming from other people. Could be family members, could be friends, could be a project you're working on, and all of a sudden you get an epiphany. And so this is going to be a very important time as well. Also around this time is the full moon in Taurus in that fourth house of home, feeling, and foundation. So the full moon in Taurus brings to light something to do with either A, finances, B, your value system, or C, some sort of home environment situation where you want to change, or you're coming to a realization that it's not working out the way you thought it would be, and it's nudging you to change in some way in this area. Could have something to do with a child or a mother. This is the fourth house associated with that. But again, we're talking about Taurus and Scorpio. Both of the two signs represent financial matters. So this is why I'm saying it could be something related to financial matters, like you're buying a house, or maybe there's an unexpected expense in the house that you have to attend to, that kind of stuff. Or maybe you sold a house and you're making tons of money. Whatever, it depends on your actual birth chart. I'm just giving you examples. Now, Venus enters Scorpio on the 7th to amp up this desire and this passion in the work environment. So maybe you're overwhelmed at work. Maybe you're having a lot of issues with partnerships and relationships. This is going to amp it up. This intensifies the desire. Scorpio is very intense, very passionate, very much driven to accomplish. And so this again amplifies financial matters and intense partnerships or intensity. It ramps up the energy. And so this is all in the career sector, how you're seen in the public, which is going to be a major revelation or awareness, that comes to light over the course of this entire month, because Venus will leave this part of the chart at the beginning of December. Now, here's Uranus backtracking into Taurus right here on the 8th, back into this fourth house. So there's unfinished business with the fourth house. The home life, real estate matters, family dynamics, emotions from the past. As Uranus is retrograde going back here, it'll trigger all of these things over a course of time. It's not going to happen on one day. It's going to be over a period of the next couple of months, because Uranus is about, basically changing our patterns. Taurus is about our beliefs, our values, and the fourth house is about our home and real estate matters and the connection we have with others. So maybe there's a property that you need to sell. Maybe there's something you need to take care of in the family dynamics. Maybe there's an issue from the past you need to resolve finally with a member that you didn't get along with. It could be any one of those things. Okay. Next year in 2026, when Uranus re-enters Gemini, it will not go back into Taurus again, like I said, for 84 years. So it'll be in that fifth house of creativity. But that's all next year, and next year is a big year. Mercury goes retrograde at Sagittarius. There it is right there at stationary position. And so now there's that slowdown. The brakes are getting applied. We're starting to reflect the past. People from the past are starting to show up. Organizations, charities, groups, communities, all of this stuff start showing up in your life in the next 3 weeks as Mercury makes its way backwards from our perspective on Earth. And so here is a time to resolve matters or just to have a good time and reflect and move on. That's how it works. And so, as much as Sagittarian represents the future, and so does Aquarius, the retrogrades tend to slow us down a little bit, and we start going inward and the past. Jupiter continues the retrograde theme as well as it goes retrograde in the 6th house of work and service and health. So over the course of the next 4 months, as Jupiter makes its way retrograde in the 6th house, you're revising things pertaining to your daily activity, your health matters, or someone else's health, or family dynamics, because Cancer rules the family dynamics. And so there's all of this revision taking place as well. So you could see here, retrograde, 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 retrograde. So we've got all this retrograde. It just means going back or going within. Okay, and so that's all it means. But we'll also have a lot of planets in water signs, which is also reflective of the past. Okay, we have Cancer, we have Pisces, we have Scorpio. So that is also indicative of pulling us into the past. Now Mercury retrogrades back into Scorpio, adding a little bit more intensity to the matter. Mercury in Sagittarius is more fun-loving and curious and playful, but Mercury in Scorpio is more, let's get this done, I'm serious, this is how it's got to be. It's more of an intense energy that's being activated in this 10th house of career. So notice all of this energy in the 10th house, and also the new moon in Scorpio is going to continue to highlight the 10th house of career. So maybe you're thinking about changing careers. Maybe you're thinking about getting a promotion. Maybe you're getting, looked at from the higher ups in your company, and they want to advance you in some way. Maybe they're giving you more money. Maybe there's some power moves happening in your company or your organization. That's what this is reflective of a new moon in Scorpio. It's a take charge kind of energy, but it could be an advancement of some kind. So here is the future, that's being revealed, or something from the past that's resurfacing that you have to take care of, that is going to change in a more positive way for you. And that's how I would view that new moon. Sun enters Sagittarius. Now this is all good times and playfulness and joy and, having a more optimistic approach to things. Sagittarius is very optimistic and very adventurous and very much loves to have a good time. And now it's in the 11th house, which absolutely helps out a lot because Mars is already there. And so you're having a good time, you're socializing, you're interacting, you're having more of a playful adventure of some kind. And so this could be really good for interacting with many others and looking towards the future with a lot more optimism. And that's what I would suggest right there. And finally, Mercury goes direct on the 29th to help with clarity in the work environment. Maybe there's a slowdown and reevaluating, but now that things start to get some sort of clarification as Mercury begins to go direct. We still have these other planets in retrograde, but Mercury helping out our thinking will be very helpful. All right, so there's the general overview. If you want to know more, I do an extended version of this in my Inner Circle community, and I left the link down below. So there I do the weekly astrology overview, which the members do really enjoy. I teach astrology there, and every week we're on a Zoom call talking about different things. And members, interact with me, and they get to send me a chart or two. I go answer a few questions for them, and we have a good time. So anyway, consider joining. I left the link down below. I hope to see you in the community. Have a great month, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now.